everybody, and welcome. We are here tonight. We are going to swear in a new officer, Timmy Batley. He joins us from Canfield, is that right, Timmy? Canfield. And he had served down in Dayton for about 5 years, and we're glad to have him. We actually gave him the need to swear in this morning, and we're going to start with the formal one tonight. So Timmy, can you join us up here? Raise your right hand and repeat after me, please. I, Timmy Batley,
I, Jimmy Batley,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will uphold
that I will uphold
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution and statutes
the Constitution and statutes
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
and the Charter and ordinances
and the Charter and ordinances
of the City of Streetsboro.
of the City of Streetsboro,
And that I will perform
and that I will perform
the duties of police officer
the duty of police officer
for the City of Streetsboro's
for the City of Streetsboro's
Police Department,
Police Department,
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Welcome aboard. Well, anybody wants to take pictures, can take your pictures.
Different, right?
How come you get your stuff printed? You don't get printed.
Oh, she does it.
Who does?
Yeah. We usually just read down the list that's on here.
There's 7717 is gonna be first.
Oh, isn't?
And 17 is not on there because it doesn't have emergency in it.
Yeah.
This stays.
First. Read.
Right?
Council.
Alright, uniforms. You guys wanna come hide in the back?
Yeah, he's gonna pull this. He'll do it after that.
Yeah.
We want to do old business too. There's nothing there.
Yeah, of course you do it, Sam. Good job.
I turned around this morning the other way too when we were here this morning.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because there's nothing. Yeah.
It's actually not that much considering the amount of.
Hey Brett, can anybody swear over you?
I don't think that they like being snuck up on. That's true. You're not calling me crazy.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I thought you were here.
Yeah, once they look at the weather, they
It's on his phone.
Thank you.
Did you guys get your drinks?
Yeah,
Mayor,
Did Michael?
did you get the oath that's laying on your chair for planning? You'll do that one in a minute. Right, Missy? Whenever you want.
I'd like to call this Service Committee meeting of Monday, January 13th, 2025 to order. Mrs. McDaniel, if you could lead us in invocation, and Mayor, if you could lead us in the pledge.
Heavenly Father, thank you for hearing us when we call upon your name. Thank you for being all-knowing, aware of what each of us are going through, and aware of what's going on in our city and in our country. Lord, I pray tonight for those who are grieving. I lift up the Kosciuszko family, our police department, specifically Officer Hall, and our colleague Jen. Lord, you understand sorrow, and you care about everyone's pain. Please comfort those in our community who need the peace that passes understanding, which only comes from you. Lord, I pray that you also be near to those in California who are suffering from the fires. I pray for your blessing on tonight's meeting and on our city. Lord, please give us wisdom and guidance as we work through the matters that are before us. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Can we have a moment of silence for Chuck too, please? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bridget, can you please call roll?
Mr. Ring?
Here?
Mr. Mishniak? Mr. Hannon?
Here.
Mr. Lombardo?
Here.
Mrs. McDaniel? Ms. Glenn?
Here.
Ms. Wagner is absent.
I'll make a motion to excuse Miss Wagner.
Second.
We have a motion to excuse a motion, a second to excuse Ms. Wagner. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, Ms. Wagner has been excused. Disposition of minutes, Service Committee meeting of 12/9/2024.
Motion to adopt as written.
Second.
A motion, I have a first and a second to adopt the disposition of minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes have been accepted. Number,
Ms. Glenn, I'd like to make a motion to recess out of Service Committee for an appointment.
Make a,
do I have a second?
I'll second.
First and a second to recess out of service and go into regular council meeting. Do you need a roll call for that?
No,
Okay.
not for that one.
All right.
You do have to call the vote, though.
Oh, that's right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are recessed.
You're gonna open up.
Yeah. I'd like to call this regular council meeting of Monday, January 13th to order. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Ring?
Here.
Mr. Mishniak?
Here.
Mr. Hannon?
Here.
Mr. Lombardo? Mrs. McDaniel? Ms. Glenn?
Here.
I'll entertain a motion to excuse Ms. Wagner.
Second.
So moved.
No, so moved.
Second.
A first and second to excuse Ms. Wagner. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, she is excused. All right, we'll move on to item 10, Mayor's Report. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Ring. I would like council to consider reappointing Chris Yanish to the Planning and Zoning Commission as an at-large representative. Chris came on a little bit under a year ago to fill an unexpired term, and he has done a pretty darn good job so far, and he has expressed a desire to continue on. So I would ask the council affirm Chris Yanish as the Planning and Zoning Commissioner for the at-large position. He is in the audience if you have any questions for him.
Hey, Chris, thanks again for your volunteering to serve our city. Any comments or questions from council?
Fair enough. I'll make a motion to accept the appointment of Chris Yanish to the at-large.
Second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, you are appointed. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Yanish.
I'll swear him in. We'll be all good. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Chris Yanish,
I, Chris Yanish,
do hereby solemnly swear or affirm
do by solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
and the chartered ordinances
and the chartered ordinances
of the City of Streetsboro.
of the City of Streetsboro.
I will honestly,
I will honestly,
faithfully,
faithfully,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of
of the office of
Planning and Zoning Commissioner at Large,
Planning and Zoning Commissioner at large,
to which I have been duly appointed
to which I have been duly appointed
during my continuance in office.
during my continuance in office.
Welcome aboard. Again. Thank you, Mr. Ring.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll wait a moment for the clerk to return.
Could always have Matt fill in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you need?
You ready?
I can't wait for that day. Meeting adjourned.
You can't do that.
If I get a vote, I can do it.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to recess out of full council, go back to service.
Second.
First and second to recess out of full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are recessed. Make a motion to reconvene service committee.
We have a motion and a second to reconvene the service committee meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this meeting has been reconvened. Number 4, old business, there is none. Number 5, new business. Item A, T7712, contract for IT purchases, New Egg LLC, and Amazon and CDW Government. Mr. Hoffman.
Thank you, Mrs. Black. Good evening. This is the same kind of ordinance that we passed last year. It's just allowing me to use Newegg, Amazon and CDW Government for everyday purchases. All the purchases still have to meet the guidelines. Anything over 5,000 up to 19,999 go to Board of Control, and anything over that will still come to council.
Any discussion?
If there's no discussion, I'll make a motion to move this to tonight's full council.
Second.
A motion and a second to move this to tonight's regular council meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this has been moved to tonight's regular council meeting. Item B, T7713, contract with New Egg LLC for purchase of Microsoft 365 licenses for 2025. Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you again. This is just our renewal for our 365 licenses for the city. We have 3 different tenants. They expire at different times, but it gives approval for all the renewals that we need for 365. The cost did go up a little bit this year, only because we are using 365 now as our anti-spam. So the cost kind of evens itself out. What we were paying for a third-party anti-spam, we just moved that into our 365 budget, and we are utilizing 365 for that.
Mr. Hannon,
Do we have to make a motion to,
for the corrected,
corrected,
No.
yes?
no, we
The-
don't.
The correction is in your packet. It was already done.
Okay,
Oh, prior to the meeting? Oh,
So,
we're good.
yeah.
Okay.
okay, perfect.
Make a motion to send this, the corrected version to regular council as emergency.
Second.
A first and a second to send this to tonight's full council meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this has been moved. Item C, T7714, purchase of annual subscription Asset Essentials Program with Brightly, Inc. Mr. Bill Miller.
This is our annual subscription for our work order programs for service and water. It's equally split, and it comes out of it's budgeted for, and it comes out of the software lines for 10151 5733 and 50152 5733.
Regular council as emergency.
Second.
A first and a second to send this to tonight's full council meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this has been moved. Item D, T7715, annual authorization of purchase of vehicle products and supplies vendor list. Mr. Bill Miller.
This is our annual mechanics budget, so we can purchase all the parts and supplies for the everything in the city that we work on. And that comes out of the 10181 5613.
Mr. Ring.
Thank you, Ms. Glenn. The vendor list is exhaustive. You don't foresee any other, like, you can't think of anybody else you'd want on there?
No, we kind of hit the target of the ones that are more than 5,000. So if something does come up that's under 5,000, I'm allowed to use them.
Yep.
If it goes over that, then I have to go to border control or then come to council.
Okay.
The same way.
Just wanted to make sure you're comfortable with the list. Very good.
And this could just go to first read, that's fine, work its way through.
Okay. I'll make a motion to, if there's no further discussion, I'll make a motion to send this to tonight's full council.
Second.
A first and a second to move this to tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this has been moved. Item E, T7716, contract with Core and Main for waterline replacement repair parts. Mr. Bill Miller.
Yeah, this is for the vendors for any repair parts we need for the water. If we have any water breaks, it's Corn, Maine, Wind Water, and Ferguson Waterworks. This is just a yearly thing also. We do it every year, and this can be passed tonight on emergency. I believe it's on.
Mrs. McDaniel.
Thank you, Mrs. Glenn. Under section 1, the last sentence, well, it's one sentence, but where it says, as necessary to meet the city's requirements during, I believe that should say 2025, and it says 202.
Okay.
Is
yeah.
that correct? It should say
Yeah,
2025.
2025.
I'll make a motion
Yes,
to amend
yes.
that then to read, instead of reading requirements during 202, I'll make a motion to amend it to read during 2025.
Second.
Right here.
In section 1.
Section 1.
Section 1. Okay.
I have a first and a second to make that amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that amended version has been accepted.
Who seconded that for you?
John,
Now you get to make the motion.
any other discussion?
Now you get to make the motion and move it.
Any other discussion?
There's no further discussion. I'll make a motion to move this to tonight's full council
As amended?
as amended.
Second, Steve?
Steve.
I have a motion and a second to send this to tonight's full council meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this item has been moved. Item G, T7718, contract with Signal Service for maintenance and repairs to city traffic signal system. Mr. Bill Miller.
Did we miss the water?
Yeah, you missed this.
Oh, item F.
Yes.
Sorry, yes. T7717, contract with Core and Main for hydrant replacement repair parts. Mr. Bill Miller.
This is our annual hydrant replacement program, parts. It's not to exceed $32,000. The vendors are Corn, Maine, Ferguson Waterworks, Fastenal, East Jordan, and Applied Maintenance. And it actually comes out of the water hydrants line, which is 501, 52, 57, 36. And this is, like I said, a yearly ordinance.
No discussion. I'll make a motion to move that to tonight's full council.
Second.
A motion and a second to move the tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this item has been moved. To first read? Okay, first read.
Is that one first read?
Yep. No emergency clause on it.
Okay. Item G, T7718, contract with Signal Service for maintenance and repairs to city traffic system. Wait a minute. No, T7717, right? Contract, item F, for Core and Main for hydrant replacement parts. Mr. Bill Miller.
That's what we just
That's
did.
what the one we just went over. You're on
Now
G.
we're back
now.
on
All right,
the-
I'm doing it right. All right, I was doing it right. T7718, contract for Signal Service for maintenance and repairs to city traffic signal system. Mr. Bill Miller.
Yeah, this is our yearly contract with them, $72 an hour. They do all of our traffic light and some of our street light maintenance, and they also do any replacements of lights that have been hit on, by accidents. It's a yearly contract, which is budgeted for, and it comes out of the 201-6154-53 for traffic light, and 101-51-54-38 for street light maintenance. If this could be passed tonight as emergency, appreciate it.
There's no further discussion. I'll make a motion to move this to tonight's full council.
First and a second to move this to tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this item has been moved. Item H, T7719, contract with Michael H. Wildermuth for backup plan examiner. Mayor.
This is just an annual, an annual request that we have for a backup plans examiner. We do have a primary, and if something happens where they cannot do it, or if we have too many of them, we can use Mr. Wildermuth as our as a backup plan, and there was no increase in the cost.
Any discussion?
Make a motion to move this to tonight's full council.
Second.
First and a second to move this to tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this item has been moved. Item I, T7720, contract with F&B Engineering, Inc. to provide commercial plan review. Mayor.
This is a renewal. F&B currently does our commercial plan review, along with provide services as the chief building official. He sign off on occupancy permits and things like that, and they too have not increased their price.
There's no further discussion. I'll make a motion to move this to tonight's full council.
Second.
First and a second to move this item to tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this item has been moved. Item J, T7721, contract with Inspection Service Solutions LLC, backup for chief building official and backup building, electrical, and plumbing inspection services. Mayor.
Again, it's the backups for the folks that we have on staff. A lot of times, these backup inspectors, they will do the inspections and things that occur after normal working hours, and it's good to have them on board. And they can also function as a chief building official to sign off on occupancy permits, although they rarely have had to, but we still need to allow them to do so. We've had no increase in these prices. Or cost issues.
There's no further discussion. I'll make a motion to move this to tonight's full council.
Second.
First and a second to move this to tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this item has been moved. Item K, T7723, revised health insurance rates, repeal ordinance number 2024-173. Mayor.
We, after the last meeting, we had spoken to you folks about raising up the employee contribution in the healthcare plan. And upon further review, it was decided that we should probably wait until the renewal instead of going in. Our renewal is until June, and so we're asking the council rescind the old ordinance and put the new one in first. Or we're going to come back in June for that. And then we'll come back with the new ordinance as we get closer to the renewal.
No, this one replaces, this replaces.
Okay, okay, so it does replace.
Yep. All right, there's no further discussion. I'll make a motion to move this to tonight's full council.
Second.
First and a second to move this to tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this item has been moved. Item L, T7724, purchase Dell Computers 2025. Mr. Kaufman.
Good evening. These are all budgeted for just our annual replacement. It is a little bit higher than we usually do because we have dispatch computers that are going to be replaced, and just the specs that we need for those dispatch computers are extreme, just because of what the computers do, and needing to have as many monitors that dispatch uses requires some hefty video cards. Other than that, we'll be replacing some of the in-car computers in the cruisers. We did a test run last year with these and they went very well. And then just some other replacements throughout the city.
There's no further discussion. I'll make a motion to move this to tonight's full council.
Second.
First and a second to move this to tonight's
Can't do
full
it, dude.
council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this item has been moved. Item 6, citizen comments.
She said that it didn't have it. She put it in
No comments. Item 7, announcements. A regular council meeting will immediately follow this meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
First and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned.
Give me a second, please. Hey, I'll just go home. How's that?
Perfect. Oh.
need it, but you got it anyway.
I'll entertain a motion to reconvene regular council.
So moved.
Second.
A first and a second to reconvene regular council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are reconvened. All right, we're on item 4, citizens' comments. Seeing none? Item 5, reports, communications from boards, departments, and commissioners. Chief Wayne, would you like to start?
As I'm sure you're
As I'm sure you're all aware, we suffered a pretty significant loss last week throughout the department. Our canine Kaya was hit and killed in a car accident. It's been a rough week. It's been a rough week for all of us, but more so than anybody for Officer Hall. We've been unbelievably blessed to have a huge amount of support. Unfortunately, there's been some negativity, which is pretty minor in comparison to how much attention that the whole thing has got. But it is leaving a big hole in the department, and it has been pretty rough for Jason to move on. I would like to ask, as it is not something that we normally think about, but it is a line of duty death for the department, and I would ask for a moment of silence for Kaya and for Officer Hall as he deals with his loss. Thank you. As far as positive news goes, as you saw, we just swore in Officer Batley. He came to us from Canfield PD. He's the second officer that we've gotten from Canfield PD. And he also did come in with 5 years' experience at Dayton. And that kind of experience is not something that we can bottle or buy at the PD. He comes in seeing and having dealt with probably more so than anybody in our department combined. So we're really lucky and looking forward to him as he progresses through his FTO program and moves into full patrol duties. The other thing is we have our next candidate, which will put us, knock on wood, will put us at full staff, which is not something that's pretty heard of in most departments anymore. Everybody's really struggling for staffing. So we're going to be very lucky to be full staffed. The newest guys at the department they're doing our recruiting for us. So we're definitely doing something right. They're doing something right, and we're really lucky to have some extra candidates that we don't have room for to get hired. Finally, we are looking at doing canine interviews. It doesn't feel appropriate and it doesn't feel right to be looking at it right now with Kaya being so recent. It just so turned out that we were already looking at scheduling because we were looking to replace Reno, who had passed last year. Officer Hall is aware, so he knows those are coming up. We've also gotten several, as I said, the positive stuff that has come out of the community has been pretty astounding. We've had a few individuals reach out to donate canines, puppies, and or money to buy new canines. We're working our way vetting through that entire process, and hopefully within the next month or so we should have some pretty strong forward movement on that. We've gotten everything from an offer of a 3-year-old canine whose handler just decided to no longer be a canine handler out of Pennsylvania, to a family that has a 4-month-old working breed shepherd, and then another individual who's got a puppy Malinois who's looking for a home. So we've got a lot of stuff to move forward in progress to get us back to where we were, and still recognizing that it's going to be a rough transition. So unless anybody has any questions, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Chief Reynolds.
Happy New Year. Starting off busy New Year for us. Last 2 weeks ago, council, we had a fire in a mutual aid city, so we were up half the night. We training electrical vehicle fires. We had an outside speaker coming in talking about the dangers and mitigation process for electric vehicles. Today, we had 3 full-timers appointed and 4 part-timers. So today we're at Tri-C all morning. Beautiful day. Sun was shining. It was in the 20s, which is perfect. So we had live fire training where after a week of training, we actually had live burns inside the burn building at Tri-C, and we had a good time. 2 of our new firefighters, previous to the hire of the 3, have completed their fire safety inspection program. Honored to say that Captain James Bucks has been accepted into the Executive Office Fire Program, which the mayor knows quite well. It's a program put on for the succession to move up in the fire service. And we've been busy with EMS and some fires. That's all I have.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Knott, anything from law?
No, I have nothing at this time.
Very good. Mr. Manager?
Good.
Nothing new with parks, all right? Any new businesses coming, Patrick?
Aldi's is supposedly opening by the end of the month. I'd like to state, about 5 years ago, Mike insisted before I was confirmed as the Economic Development Director that we all go in executive session, and because he couldn't vote on anybody that he hadn't met. And Chuck Kosisco was in there, and Mike was peppering me with questions, and I was trying to do what you do in an interview, and I was trying to say, well, I can do this, I can do that, and Chuck said, you're a cocky SOB. And I liked him immediately for that. That man was not afraid to twist some arms and speak very vocally about what he thought was best for Streetsboro. And we all benefited from his time here on council. I will miss him dearly.
Thank you. You were not wrong about that. Mr. Chaskowski.
I have nothing new to report. Just continuing work on sign code update and other long-term projects. Thank you.
Mr. Checkeye.
We should be getting steel going up soon, but obviously the weather's playing into that quite a bit. Yeah. So that's the major update I have.
Mr. Miller?
Nothing new to update.
Just doing year-end stuff, getting W-2s will be coming out soon, and doing 1099s, closing the system. So we're just changing over the accounting year.
Very good. Thank you. Ms. Pavlik, anything new from council clerk?
No.
Okay.
Well, actually, yes, there is one thing. You got in your packets a liquor license for, a new one for Dollar General. And if you want to object or whatever, I need to know by the 30th. Or no, 31st. So, it's in your packet. If you want to look over it, we
Is
can
that just
discuss it
like,
in another meeting.
Is that just they're switching owners, or are they trying?
No,
to
they're
sell-
getting-
No,
they're
they're
getting
getting a
new-
new liquor license.
So I don't know if they're gonna start selling beer and wine or something. It's a C1 and a C2, so I'm assuming it's just beer and wine, but.
Yeah, but it's a new license.
Yeah. Very good, thank you. All right, moving on to item 6.
Mr. Ring?
Yes.
Can I make a motion to suspend the rules, please?
You can, but you have to,
Oh, because there's a couple. that
yeah, here's
are-
the actual list of them.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules on items T 7712, 7713, 7714, 7716, 7718, 7719, 7720, 7721, 7722, 7723, and 7724.
7716 and 7717 don't contain emergency languages.
No.
So
They're on for first read tonight.
Well, he moved to suspend the rules on 1/6, just,
Yep, well, no.
I'll remove 1/6 from that long motion.
very good, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mishnah.
Here's,
7716 does have emergency legislation in it.
Yes, it does.
Mhm.
Is that-
I'll add 7716 back in.
And declaring an emergency in order to maintain the city's water
That's
system.
in the regular council packet, not the service committee. Is that correct?
7722 is in your council
Just look
packet.
at it. Hold on, let me double check that.
Trust me, this has been an all day.
1/7 definitely does not, we agree on that, right?
1/6 does have it on our,
Six
in the
yes,
packet.
1/7 no, right?
Okay. Very good.
I'll add 7716 back
The
to
original,
my motion.
the original
My
motion
original
stands, okay.
Someone second it before it changes.
Second.
Mr. Hannon first and Ms. Glenn second. Can you please call roll, Bridget?
We might be out here by 8.
Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. All right.
Motion passes, the rules are suspended.
All right, moving on to item A, T7712, contract for IT purchases, New Egg LLC and Amazon CDW Government. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into contracts without competitive bidding with New Egg, CDW Government, and Amazon for the purchase of information technology parts and supplies and services for the city's IT network, and declaring an emergency because it is immediately necessary to purchase IT parts and supplies.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a first and second to adopt. Bridget, please call roll.
That was John and
Tony?
Okay. Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7712 now becomes ordinance number 2025-01. All right, item B, T7713, contract with New Egg LLC for purchase of Microsoft 365 licenses for 2025. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract without competitive bidding with New Egg LLC for the purchase of Microsoft 365 licenses for the various departments of the city during 2025 in an amount not to exceed $30,662.31 and declaring an emergency in order to maintain continuity of services.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
A first and second to adopt. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7713 now becomes ordinance number 2025-02. Item C, T7714, purchase of annual subscription Asset Essentials program with Brightly Incorporated. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract without competitive bidding with Brightly Software, Inc. for the purchase of a web-based software subscription service for the water and service departments for 2025 in an amount not to exceed $26,526.91 and declaring an emergency in order to maintain continuity of services.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
A first and second to adopt. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7714 now becomes ordinance 2025-03. Item D, T7716, contract with Core and Main for waterline replacement repair parts. Or I almost called you Caroline. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into contracts without competitive bidding with various vendors for the purchase of the city's requirements for water line replacement and repair parts in an amount not to exceed $66,000 during 2025 and declaring an emergency in order to maintain the city's water system. This is as amended.
Make a motion to adopt as amended.
Second?
Sorry.
I'll second it.
The first and second to adopt as amended. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Hannan?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7716 now becomes ordinance 2025-04. All right, item F, T7718, contract with Signal Service for maintenance and repairs to city traffic signal system. Bridget, please read by title.
Okay. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract without competitive bidding with Signal Service Company for the purchase of the city's annual requirements for maintenance and repairs to the city's traffic signal system during 2025 and declaring an emergency in order to maintain continuity of services.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
First and second to adopt. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Hannan?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7718 now becomes ordinance number 2025-05. All right, item G, T7719, contract with Michael H. Wildermuth for backup plans examiner. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract without competitive bidding with Michael H. Wildermuth to provide the city's requirements for backup plans examiner services during 2025 and declaring an emergency in order to maintain continuity of services.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
First and second to adopt. Bridget, please call roll.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mr. Hannan?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7719 now becomes ordinance 2025-06. All right, T7720, contract with F&B Engineering Incorporated to provide commercial plan review. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract without competitive bidding with F&B Engineering, Inc. to provide commercial plan review services to the city during 2025 and declaring an emergency in order to maintain continuity of services.
Make a motion to adopt the legislation.
Second.
First, Mr. Mishniak, and a second from Mr. Lombardo to adopt the legislation. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Mrs. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Hannan?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7720 now becomes ordinance number 2025-07. All right, item I, T7721, contract with Inspection Solutions LLC, backup for chief building officer and backup building electrical and plumbing inspection services. Would you please read by title?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract without competitive bidding with Inspection Solutions LLC to provide the city's requirements for backup chief building official and backup building electrical and plumbing inspection services during 2025 and declaring an emergency in order to maintain continuity of services.
Motion to adopt the legislation.
Second.
A first and second to adopt the legislation. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Hannan?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7721 now becomes ordinance 2025-08. All right, item J, T7722, amend ordinance number 2024-174 to amend pay range for finance director. This is another update that needed to occur when we adopted the the pay range exhibit last week when we fixed it. The finance director's pay increase had reverted back on that paper to what it was prior to the ordinance we passed before that. So this is just fixing it and going back to the amount it should be.
Sorry, what number are you looking at?
It's T7722.
Okay.
Bridget, please read by title.
Okay. An ordinance amending ordinance number 2024-174 to amend the pay range for the finance director and making the amendment effective January 1, 2025, and declaring an emergency in order to immediately correct a discrepancy in the pay range for that position.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
The first and second to adopt. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Hannan?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
I know you're here. Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7722 now becomes ordinance number 2025-09. Item K, T7723, revised health insurance rates, repeal ordinance number 2024-173. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 2024-173 and authorizing increases in employee health insurance contributions to plans A, C, and D by 2% of total cost of each plan to the city of Streetsboro in 2025, 2026, and 2027 due to rising healthcare costs, and declaring an emergency in order to put the first increase in place by June 1st, 2025.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
I have a first and second to adopt. Bridget, please call roll.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mr. Hannan?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7723 now becomes ordinance 2025-10. Item L, T7724, purchase Dell computers 2025. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract without competitive bidding with Dell Inc. for purchase of Dell computers and related accessories for various city departments in an amount not to exceed $50,000 and declaring an emergency in order to respond to a time-sensitive proposal.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
First and second to adopt. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Hannan?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7724 now becomes ordinance number 2025-11. All right, before we move on to first read, I do want to address the liquor permit application. So these are typical. We either take no action or decide that we want to request a hearing in order to give reasons of why we would not want them to have it. So, does anybody have any discussion or care to discuss it? Or, no?
Do they sell alcohol now?
I don't think they do now.
I mean, in general, in that chain?
I don't know. I don't think they do. I don't know if they're moving towards the new, new business model.
I've seen it, but not in the state.
No. Yeah, it's,
All right, second question. In general, does anybody have opposition to
retail.
retail stores selling alcohol?
I mean, like Walgreens and stuff does it, so.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, I would say not take any action.
So we'll do this. I'll entertain a motion to take no action.
Real quick, not to interrupt you, but Dollar General's website says primarily includes non-alcoholic beverages, but the availability varies by local or by location due to local regulation. So they might not sell it in Streetsboro, but they're looking to.
They're looking to do that.
I'll make a motion to.
Formally take no action.
Note that we've reviewed the notice we've been given, and I'm moving that we take no action on it.
Second.
The first and second to take no action on Dollar General's liquor control request. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we have formally taken no action. All right. Now, moving on to first reading. T7715, annual authorization of purchase of vehicle products and supplies vendor lists. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into contracts without competitive bidding with various vendors for the purchase of repair parts and supplies and services for the city's vehicle fleet during 2025.
Thank you. Next item for first read is T7717, a contract with Core and Main for hydrant replacement repair parts. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into contracts without competitive bidding with various vendors for the purchase of the city's requirements for fire hydrant replacement and repair parts in an amount not to exceed $32,000 during 2025.
Thank you. And item 8, second reading, T7686, amend building permit fees.
Mr. Ring,
Yes.
I'd like to ask council to table this until the first meeting in February. After all the questions that were raised, Dan and Jerry have taken upon themselves to try and get the information, and it is a very, very, very time-consuming process. So we're asking to have this delayed until February.
Okay.
Mr. Ring, I have a question.
Sure.
Is there a specific amount of days that something can sit on a second reading? I didn't know if it eventually.
No, you just have to have a specific number of days between readings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Well, if this is gonna be like a continuous thing, like my thought is move it back to committee. Because it's gonna be completely different of what we read the first time and discussed in the first committee meeting. Especially if it's going to February. It's almost, it's another month away. I mean, unless we can keep it on second reading, but, that doesn't really give people an opportunity to discuss it, I guess, I guess that's what our committee meetings is for, is to discuss those types of things, so. I don't know what we need to
Are you
do.
making a motion?
I'll make a motion to
Move it back to service.
move this back to the service committee meeting in February.
Second.
We have a first and second to put T7686 back on the service committee agenda for the meeting in February.
February 10th.
February 10th. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that is back on the agenda. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next item is third reading. Are we good to read this, Justin? Are we still in a?
We're still waiting.
Okay. Should we send this back to committee?
The reason we're waiting is because their attorney on Friday promised me that I would have the signed copy, and I said I need at least a scan, and he never got back to me after that. So,
Ah, good.
yeah, that's why.
All right, it can be parked at third reading, I guess, doesn't hurt anything.
On the 10th?
Yeah, it'll be moved to 10th, third reading. All right, item 10, mayor's report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Ring. I'm sure you all have heard by now, Chuck's calling hours will be Wednesday night from 5 to 8 over at Shorts and on Page Road, and then his funeral mass will be at St. Joan of Arc on Thursday morning at 11, and his burial will be in All Saints Cemetery up in Northfield. The family asked me to do the eulogy, and I asked Rob to send me a bio, and because there was just so many things, and he sent the bio in, and I don't think too many people realize the amount of community service that Chuck Kosisko has done. He was very integral in the start of the Streetsboro Junior Baseball, served as its president for 10 years. He was integral in getting the lights on Field 7, the dugouts on 5 and 7. He's been on the Chamber of Commerce. He's been on a VCB. He served on BZA planning and 4 terms as a councilman, master plan review. I mean, the list just goes on and on. And you know, you're always used to seeing Chuck around. And, you know, his crowning achievement for him was Family Days. And, you know, he is the one that really drove that bus. And if you remember, he used to sit here beside where Mr. Mishniak is sitting now, and his famous words were, "Here comes the bus." And he would go beep, beep, beep as we were talking. And, you know, I really grew to respect him. We didn't always see eye to eye, but we always did seem to be able to come to some type of an agreement. And he'll definitely be missed. I hope to see you folks out there to honor his legacy, either at the calling hours or at the funeral on Thursday morning. And you know, the guy's going to be missed. And you know, in addition to everything he did for the city, you talk to his kids, and they talk about how great of a dad he was. And you know, it's just something we've known that Chuck has been in failing health for a couple years now. And you know, I really do hope that God lets him rest in peace, because he certainly deserves it. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, moving on to President of Council's comments. Yeah, I mean, I'll echo a lot of what the mayor said. I got the privilege of serving with Chuck up here for a few years. Knew him prior to that, though, just from coming to meetings and being out in the community and meeting him in many different capacities. You know, Chuck, you know, towards his end of city council reign, he used to call me his favorite bean counter. That was the bean counter. Yeah.
He didn't mince words, did he?
No. And I'll wear that moniker with pride from now on. But he was a great guy, always willing to give. You know, he didn't mince his words. He was a straight shooter, but he had a big heart, and he really just wanted to help the community. He was a great guy. He will be missed. I also want to give my condolences to Officer Hall. That's an absolute tragic thing to go through, and I can't imagine just the pain that he's feeling. And so, you know, obviously we lost an officer that day, but it affected another one really badly. So,
Thank you.
wish him the best, and give him my condolences, please.
Thank you.
I also want to, as Lisa said in her prayer, address Miss Wagner. Is going through a hard time now as well. I don't want to put any family business out, but if everybody would just keep her in your thoughts. She has a rather delicate family situation that she's dealing with. So please keep her in your thoughts. Aside from that, I am good. We'll go to council member comments. Ms. Glenn.
Thank you. I just want to say, even though I did not serve on council with Chuck, I came to some meetings, would see him up here in action. It was true, he would say what was on his mind, and I really admired him for that. I mean, he just did so much for the city. I've lived here since 1991, and I don't remember a minute where Chuck Kosciuszko wasn't doing something. So Chuck will be missed. I used to talk to him somewhat regularly. He'd be up at Home Depot. I'd run up there. We'd be talking to him about just all kinds of stuff. So I will miss him. The city will miss him. And condolences to the family.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yeah, I just echo everybody's comments. Chuck just, I think you said service, you know, you always thought Chuck, you thought service. He was involved in pretty much everything. And most of his spare time was spent doing things that he enjoyed doing, but it had side benefits. It was always for a better quality of life here in Streetsboro. And I think, you know, as council members that got to work with them, we saw that. But not only that, just in all the service-oriented organizations he was involved with. I would call baseball for years because my kids were that age, you know, and Chuck always being there and helping run things. And you can't replace that
it's a different culture where it's not cool to do things in your free time to serve others. You know what I mean? And that's something Chuck did because he enjoyed it, but it helped the rest of us. And I don't know what that says about our society, but guys like that just aren't around anymore and probably won't ever be again. So he will be missed. So I have.
Mr. Hannon?
Thank you, Mr. Ring. Yes, obviously, Mr. Kosciuszko, I got elected with him in 2017. So I have a good memory with him. One of my only pictures with Chuck is getting sworn in with him. And, my earliest memories, like we've mentioned, Streetsboro Junior Baseball, I was a little kid. I don't remember it really at the time, but now that I look back on it, I remember Chuck and everything he did and how much work he put into that. And then I was also a kid when Family Days started, so to look back and see all those memories and see, the work that he put in to make that come to life. And then obviously getting the chance to serve with him, it was a true honor. I mean, he was a great guy, but he was always someone that believed in me because I was a young city councilman at the time. I just turned 24. So I was already nervous as heck sitting up here in my first meeting, and I remember usually when we go into an organizational meeting, we know whose turn it is to serve as president and vice president, and Chuck randomly at the last minute nominated me as council vice president. So it put me in an interesting spot, but I knew that he believed in me, that if I were elected that position, that I would do well in it. Ultimately, I was not, but kind of put me in a tough spot. My first vote on city council, already being nervous, was to vote for myself to serve as council vice president. But just through my time on city council with Chuck in 4 years, like Steve said, it's hard to replace it. The guy was like a history book. I learned so much from Chuck. If I had a question, I could call him. I could find out what happened in, that anything that ever happened in the city of Streetsboro, or who you needed to talk to, or who was involved in what, Chuck knew. And that's like one of the hardest things to lose, is just that history and that knowledge of the city. And I'll forever be thankful for his guidance in that. And, I know during COVID, that was a tough time just through our city transitioning everything online. I got to spend some time with Chuck at his house, setting up his computer for him for Zoom and everything. But just having those conversations, those memories with him are things that I'm always going to remember about Chuck. I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Hannon. Ms. McDaniel?
Well, I only got to meet Mr. Kosciuszko once, and it was at Family Days last year, and he was attracted to my gang of kids. And he came over specifically to talk to me and my 6 children. And from hearing everything everyone has had to say about him, I would challenge all of us to be like Chuck. I think it would make Streetsboro an even better place. And I'll certainly be thinking of and praying for Officer Hall, as I have been, and Jen, and Chuck's family. This is sort of a heavy time in our community, but brighter days ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Lombardo?
Thank you, Mr. Ring. I used to look forward to watching the council meetings at home before I got on council, because I knew that there was going to be a battle of some sort between him and the mayor, and he definitely didn't put up with anything. And watching them go back and forth was very entertaining. I walked into Home Depot one day, and I walked right past him, and he said, "Young man," he goes, "you get on council, you're too good to talk to me now?" He goes, "No, just keep on walking, never mind." So he was interesting, and he's going to be missed for sure, so thoughts and prayers to his family. And Officer Hall, Streetsboro Police Department, terrible, terrible time. My thoughts and prayers are with everyone. So horrible. So if you need anything, let us know.
Thank you.
If there are services that are offered where they want others to attend, let us know, please. And we will be there if we can. And Miss Wagner, thoughts and prayers to her and her family during her difficult time as well. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Lombardo. All right, announcements. There will be a Finance Committee meeting, a regular council meeting, Monday, January 27th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in council chambers. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
First and second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned.
That's pretty good. You guys got through item L in an hour and 3 minutes. That's pretty darn good.
Spend money, spend money, spend more money.
How's it going?